Imagine having your whole life put into the hands of a stranger who can take away your freedom to choose from where you live to how to spend your money.
And if you disagree on how they are handling things, you have nobody to complain to. There is no outside agency. 7's investigative reporter Carmel Cafaro is on the case.
95-year-old Lucille Gittins was forced to leave the home she had lived in with her son and his family for 30 years.
I felt helpless. You know, I couldn't help her. I couldn't do anything.
It was very disturbing. My grandmother was like my best friend.
The court stepped in and appointed a guardian after a family disagreement over the mother's finances.
90% of families have, internal squabbles. I'm sure that you're aware of that. But that does not mean to say it has to reach this level with, making a drastic decision like this for no reason.
He says first the guardian took over his mother's estate and eventually took her out of her home and put her in a group facility.
The legal system is so complex that you can spend all your money and all the time and get nowhere.
Keith says he could find no one to independently investigate his concerns about what was happening with his mother.
There's too much power given, in this guardianship program. There's no checks and balances, really.
Avril Shuckman says her mother had a picture-perfect life, but her last hours were a nightmare.
My mother suffered desperately. I think it was the most heinous crime.
Avril says her mother had a do not resuscitate order, which her guardian ignored. In fact, the South Florida Guardian did not call Avril in Tampa and tell her her mother was dying until 4 days after she was put on life support.
She lasted another 20 hours gasping for air. It was the most awful death I've ever seen. It was just tragic.
Avril thought the Guardian should have been investigated, but she could find no independent agency to hear her concerns.
I think the legislature should look at the entire guardianship program and revamp it.
Avril and Keith are not alone. Nationwide, so many families are upset about the treatment of loved ones they've organized.
A guardianship is like being in quicksand. You never know what you're going to get into, and it's almost impossible to get out of.
Annie McKenna is with the National Association to Stop Guardian Abuse.
There's a saying in our organization that the main point of the guardianship is to isolate, medicate, and take the estate.
McKenna's group has found hundreds of families frustrated with nowhere to turn, like this postal worker who complained because his guardian wouldn't let him use his own money to get his teeth fixed.
The guardianship is taking my pay every 2 weeks, plus my overtime money.
The association has posted videos like this on YouTube in hopes of getting states to do a better job of regulating the guardianship programs and to create avenues for families to make complaints.
And if we can educate enough people now about the abuse of guardianships, hopefully we'll stop it.
There is an independent agency that licenses guardians, but critics say there should be an independent agency, someplace families can go to complain if they think guardians are not making the best decisions for their families. Now, if there's something you think needs to be investigated, give me a call, or better yet, send an email. The address is clue, C-L-U-E, @WSBN.com. Carmel Cafaro, 7 News.